Alright, welcome back to the channel. It's another Saturday. I was up in Minneapolis last Saturday going to Vikings game with my sister on Sunday, so didn't get any work done out here. And then this week, while I was down in Kansas City on a business trip, I picked up that pesky virus that's been going around the last few years. You may have heard about it. It was on the news practically every day for a couple of years there. But not a very pleasant week, but my third go around with this particular virus, so I guess I'm a pro at it. And feeling all right today. Not 100% yet, but no major symptoms, just mild cough yet. So I'm going to do a few things on the bus today. I'm going to take care not to wear myself out today or overdo it, so we're just going to do some light stuff. First things first, I got some heat going in here. It's another cold, dreary day in Iowa. It's 44 degrees outside, the wind's blowing, and it's rainy, so real great conditions for somebody with a respiratory problem. But first thing I want to do is unload the back of my truck. I got some more parts that have come in, so I need to get that stuff put away. And then I am going to get the heat gun out and remove the school bus decals from this thing. And probably it's time for the number 69 to go on the side of the bus. My friends will be so disappointed, but it's time for that to go too. And then on the back of the bus, there we go. I can't see, it's kind of dark. There it goes. We gotta get those school bus logos off. And then I need to reverse the red and amber lamps. Those will actually get replaced with LED units and get tied into the actual brake and turn signal lights. It's the long-term plan for those red and ambers on the back. I'll have a switch at the driver's seat so I can disable them for states that don't allow you to do that, but here in Iowa I can have them up there. And then on the front, the red and ambers are going to get replaced with white floodlights. That again will be on a switch. So for the time being, I just want to get that stuff off there. In all honesty, I should have done that. Wow, that wind is bad. I should have done that a long time ago. But, you know, do as I say, not as I do, I guess. So those are going to come down today. I'll just use a heat gun and a scraper. I'll show you how I do that. And then after I get those two things done, I'm going to start on the process of removing these windows, which hopefully they aren't too bad. It should be as simple as just unscrewing these brackets and then getting out the pry bar and kind of prying them loose. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, I got the heater up here in the bus. This is warming up. It'd warm up a little faster if I didn't have that open. There we go. It's better. And let's get to it. All right, for this task, I just have my heat gun here. It's an electric one. I've got two different razor scrapers, both cheap little things I probably got at Harbor Freight. This little one actually worked better than the big one today. I think it's just the angle, but show you back here on the bus. The number down there is off, as is the school bus logo up there. Vinyl came off really easily. Most of the time it does, as long as you have heat. If you try to scrape it off on a cold day without heat, you're going to be in for a bad day. Every single one of these I've done. If you just have vinyl lettering up there, it's pretty easy. You know, park it in the sunlight for a day, or use a blowtorch or a hairdryer, or heat gun is best. But if you don't have that, those other things will work, and it scrapes right off. Where these get fun is on the older buses. A lot of times if the vinyl has started to crack or peel or fade, they'll slap a giant sticker up there that is a yellow reflective background with the black school bus lettering in it, and then you get to scrape that entire sticker off. And those usually tend to come off in about 1/2 centimeter chunks, and you'll be scraping it for 3 days. Been there, done that. But I got lucky. These are just simple vinyl letters, no giant stickers. So the back side is done, and we're gonna move on to the front side. All right, front is done as well. I just got the shop back out and cleaned up all the little scraps of vinyl that had fallen to the floor. But that's what she looks like up top now. So pro tip, use a sharp razor blade. Change your razor blades often. If you start gouging into the paint, you've probably got a dull blade, or you're applying too much pressure, which means you don't have enough heat. And just go slow and steady. overall wasn't too bad of a job. I decided to leave the number on the side for now. I'm going to have a lot more scraping to do on this bus later when I get closer to paint, because I got to take off all the reflective I have to take off all the reflective tape anyway, which fortunately on this bus there's not a lot of, just mostly around the emergency exits. And I guess I only have one emergency exit on this side. There's only one on the inside too. Some of the buses I've done have two emergency exits, and then there's a whole row of reflective tape like down each side. This one doesn't seem to have that, so maybe I got lucky. It's amazing things you notice when you actually stop to look. I hadn't really taken a look yet. So anyway, that's my outside fun for the time being. It's getting nice and toasty in here. I'm going to turn that heater down. I'm going to start popping out some windows. So I'm going to grab the impact and get cracking in here. Not exactly a pro tip, we'll call it a grandpa tip. Used coffee cans, or in my case baby formula cans, with a little piece of tape and a label on them. Helps you remember where stuff came from or goes later. Because I normally, this is something I struggle with and I'm trying to get better at it. When I tear something apart, I just make little piles of all the screws and bolts, and eventually some get lost or kicked or misplaced, or at the end of a project, 6 months later, 8 months later, 2 years later, I'm trying to remember, oh yeah, what does that go to? Or which pile of screws went to what? Because I don't remember. So on this project, I'm really trying to be much more organized with material as I pull it off, even if I don't think I'm going to need it again. For example, I took off the cover for the door controls. That whole door motor is probably going to go away. But you'll see I put all the screws that go to that thing in a baggie and taped it right to the back of the part. So I don't have to worry about finding those stupid screws later. Not exactly a pro tip. We'll call that a grandpa tip. All right, making pretty good progress here. I got 2 windows out so far. This one is on its way out. It's still just kind of being held in place by the by the sealant a little bit. But the trick with these is you got to get this stupid plastic cover off first. Having dealt with party buses for the last 4 years, I hate these stupid plastic covers, so I am extremely happy to be taking those off and never putting them back up again. Once that's off, then the metal plate behind it unscrews, which then gives you access to the lip of the window. You can see over here the lip of the window is kind of held in by that, so that's why these have to come down first. And then once you have the lip of that window exposed, you just wedge your pry bar right in here and just kind of gently tug on it all across until they come loose. So the fun I'm going to have here in a little bit is I can't get this one off while the air conditioner is up here yet. It looks like, I'm really hoping that is not structural because these things are pretty flimsy plastic. I'm assuming there's probably a bracket screwed in back there, but I'm gonna have to start taking this thing apart to see what I've got going on. I did remove the little plastic cover and and loosened up all the hoses so I could get the paint off back there, but I really wasn't planning on starting to tear these air conditioners apart yet today. The plan is to keep them and then just basically get rid of most of the frame and build my own custom little box around them, and maybe even change out the blowers. I don't know, we'll wait and see what it looks like when I get in there, but that's a lot more work than I was planning on getting to today. So I may just work around these couple of windows for the time being and come back to them later. We'll see. But I still have that entire side to do yet too until I get to that air conditioner. But plenty of work to be done yet today, so I'm going to quit rambling now and get back to work. Okay, that is some seriously flexible caulk sealant, whatever that is. That was impressive. Before I could actually get the phone pulled out and turn on the camera, it was like a giant spider web stretched clear across the bus. Okay, quick update. Got, what's that, 6 over there out, plus the 2 up front out. So that's making good progress. Started pulling down the uppers on this side and got all the way to this air conditioner where they overlapped a little bit on this one. So it turns out this plate here is not structural. It just, I don't know, it's supposed to keep that from vibrating or something. So I think maybe I can get this back plate out without having to mess with the AC too much, and I can keep doing windows. Making progress. I'm about halfway down the driver's side of the bus, but I just took out the emergency exit window here. So the bottom of this pigtail here plugged into the window, the top of the pigtail plugged into this other piece of pigtail down here. So good rule of thumb whenever you're working on these buses is anytime you mess with a wire, make sure your bus still starts, because you never know what could trigger an interlock. So I fully expect to have an emergency exit window chime. Which I don't. And then also, it's a good idea, make sure you can still shift into gear. Okay, so that tells me a couple things. One, bus starts, so I know I didn't trigger an interlock, which is rare on the emergency exits, but you never know. Some buses, it's more common in transit buses, I think, than school buses. But if you have triggered an interlock, the engine can still start. It just won't let you shift into gear. So I always start and shift into gear anytime I'm looking at wiring. So I know that disconnecting my emergency exit here didn't break anything. And also the fact that I did not have an emergency exit buzzer going off tells me that this bus does a little bit different than some of the other ones I've had. Other buses, it's basically a loop that runs through. And when the exit's open, that loop basically is broken, or if you remove the wiring, that gets broken, that connection's severed, and that's what triggers the buzzer. In this case, that's not what it's doing, so removing that seems to have had no effect, so I'm just fine to keep on going. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going here for a little bit. I got 3 more I'm gonna take out, and then I'm probably gonna call it tonight. We'll pick you back up before I leave. Okay, final update for tonight. Here's where we're at. Upper panels and front 2 windows removed. This whole section will have to be done after I take that AC unit apart. And then the rear 6 out. And the whole stack of windows there to be cleaned. And then over here, the first, I don't know, what is that, 10? 9 windows out, and then 3 more to be taken out after that AC comes out. I thought I was going to be able to get this one, but not quite. That upper panel's still in the way, and that upper panel can't come out until I do something with that AC unit. But making good progress. I may not have addressed it earlier, but the reason I'm taking windows out now is this is kind of phase 1 of the demolition. So I want to basically get all the glass out of here before I start ripping down ceiling panels and tearing these AC units apart and ripping up the floor, just so I don't accidentally break a window. I have accidentally broken many a window on buses converting them to party buses before, so figured as long as these windows were coming out anyway to get resealed, which looking at it was a good idea, because I don't know how well you can see in the light, but it looks like they very recently, I'm pretty sure this is Sikaflex is what this material is, this goopy, stringy stuff. I'm pretty sure what they did is, you can see there's still old sealant back there, I think these windows started leaking on them, so they basically pulled them, put a bead of Sikaflex around them, and wedged them back in. They didn't clean the old off first. There is no butyl tape or anything like that on the base, which is kind of a best practice now. So, or at least what I've seen online, it is. So I think these have been somewhat fairly recently been attempted to be fixed. If if that newest layer of sealant wasn't so wet and still so goopy, I don't think that's more than a couple of years old. Maybe I'm wrong. Very possible I'm wrong, but I think that's what's going on here. So it was a good idea to pull these out and reseal them anyway. So I'm not going to anywhere in the near future start scraping and cleaning these off yet. The next task will be after I finish getting the rest of these out, is going to be pulling down the ceiling panels, probably. And then after that, probably ripping up floor. And then later on in the build, when I start, that's when I'll get those windows cleaned up and reinstalled. I am going to be deleting, I think, 2 windows per side. It's probably going to be these 2 right here and these 2 directly across. My floor plan calls for, you can kind of see the little cheesy tape marks. These are not nearly, they're not measured out. They're just kind of roughly placed. So it gives me a rough idea what I'm working with. I do have a detailed drawing on the computer though, but bedroom's in the back, and then bathroom is in that center section of blue. Shower on one side, composting toilet on the other, and then section will be closet one side and washer dryer on the other side, along with more storage. So the 2 windows that are going to be closet and washer dryer, I think I'm just going to delete those. They have delete kits on Skoolie.com that are fairly reasonably priced and a hell of a lot cheaper and easier than trying to fabricate something myself. So anyway, I've been rambling long enough. That's the plan for what's going on in here, and I'm going to close this out, shut down my fire, and go home for the night. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.